The power of refining is actually using what you already have, what already works, and then doubling down on that over someone who knows their structure. If it doesn't align with your voice, don't talk about it. If it doesn't align with your vision, don't participate. If it doesn't align with your values, absolutely, don't partake.
Today we are discussing how to build brands that don't just survive the latest algorithm shift, but actually define the future. In 2026, the era of constant reinvention is over. We are now in the refining era, where legacy strategy determines who leads the charge.
I've been telling myself this out of the darkest situations. Be stronger than your strongest excuse. Fight for your dreams, don't fight for your excuses.
Hello everyone, this is Kripa Anand and welcome to the She and Success podcast, powered by She and Success Business Magazine, a platform dedicated to spotlighting the voices, strategies and journeys of women leaders and entrepreneurs who are shaping Canada's business and policy landscape. Today we are discussing how to build brands that don't just survive the latest algorithm shift, but actually define the future. In 2026, the era of constant reinvention is over. We are now in the refining era, where legacy strategy and AI powered visibility determine who stays relevant and who leads the charge. Joining us today is Golden, who helps founders and teams refine their positioning, credibility, and communication, and supports AI adoption through neuroscience informed change strategies. Through her proprietary The Refining Suite and her Refining for Success platform, she is redefining what it means to lead a legacy driven brand in an AI first world. So, before further ado, let's welcome this special guest. Golden, welcome to the podcast. Such a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, Golden, you've reintroduced the concept of refining era, right? Which argues that entrepreneurs should stop chasing every new trend and focus on refining what they already have. So let's start by understanding why is refining what you already have more sustainable than, the constant reinvention and that pressure that one feels.
Right. So reinvention sounds powerful, but it's really expensive because the more you reinvent yourself, the more you're going to lose trust. So the power of refining is actually using what you already have, what already works, and then doubling down on that. And so that's what's the difference going to be with people who keep reinventing because of a trend over someone who knows their structure and refines along the way and improve themselves.
Very well said. I think focusing on refinement rather than reinventing it allows you to build deeper roots and a more authentic brand identity. Now, Golden, let's explore how generative engine optimization is, reshaping visibility, specifically in the age of AI search. So, from a layman's perspective, first, I'd love for you to explain to our listeners what is generative engine optimization and why exactly does it matter so much in today's day and time?
Absolutely. Well, GEO is how you're seen in systems like LLMs. And so it's no longer about being visible anymore. It's about being chosen. So the more data you actually have on the internet about your business, about your brand, whatever that is when AI can actually choose that you are a credible output for a question someone might have. So if you can actually position yourself in the GEO to be seen but also chosen, then that's the most powerful thing. I always tell people there are phases that your business have to go through. And once you go through these phases of growth, chosen is where you want to be.
Definitely, that sounds beautiful. Something more intentional, right? Learning to speak the language of AI engines and how you ensure that your brand is cited and recommended, but not just buried in a list is definitely going to be a game changer. Now, Golden, let's discuss how neuroscience helps leaders overcome imposter syndrome and build authority. I'd like to take a moment to say that majority of the women leaders and women who are in that position of power feel that imposter syndrome, right? So I felt that people in my network have felt that. I'd love to understand, from your perspective. Firstly, what's your take on this? What's your journey with this imposter syndrome?
Yeah, 100%. All my clients go through this. Every single call we have, we're always peeling away at something. And so it's always intentional to get back to logic. Your decisions are going to come from logic, but the most powerful place is from safety. So, as a woman, you want to be self regulated when you're making decisions, when you have a decision to make in your business. And so, with that being said, that's where confidence actually comes from. You don't want to be overwhelmed, overburnt, and you're just thinking about everything all the time, and then you're making your decision from there. A lot of leaders, they skip that step of self regulation. And so once you master that, you're able to think way ahead of solving the problem in the present and thinking about positioning yourself in the future.
Definitely, very well articulated. I'd love for you to expand a little on how this idea came into your mind that, let's combine neuroscience with AI and then build the strategy for my business. How did the idea pop up in your mind?
It came from data, really. I started with mindset coaching, rewiring the mind for success, and then it trickled into brand strategy because after someone got their mind regulated, they're like, I have all these amazing ideas. I know that I'm capable of doing now. Golden, can you help me build that out? So every phase my clients went through, I was always there leading them along the way. And it was just connecting all the data points, right? When you're on a map, you're going to a destination, there's going to be stops you take along the way. There's going to be times like you rest and times you change your tire and things like that. So I'm just really their passenger princess. And I just noticed, I was like, hey, you know what? There's a connection here. And going into organizations as well for planning for organizational change management and AI adoption, a lot of people are scared. And that fear trickles into every avenue, every aspect of people's lives. So I find like learning about how to manage that will easily let other people adopt AI and position themselves for success in the future.
Again, very well articulated. Who doesn't like being a passenger princess, right? No, but on a serious note, when you master your mindset, you stop chasing trends and, start setting them. And also, as I think a women leader, a woman who is in charge, it's a high time you stop deciding which table that, has the availability for you, but you start building your own table. So I think that is something that we really need to focus on. To the leaders watching, in 2026, your confidence is an asset that you have to manage like a business strategy. Imposter syndrome is just noise. Neuroscience proves that you can rewire your brain to stop chasing external validation and start leading with conviction. Whether you are building an AI powered agency or creative boutique, stop looking for a seat at the table and start building your own. You have the intellect, you have the resources, now you just need the structure to turn your knowledge into a legacy. All right, it's time for a quick break right here, but don't go anywhere because we'll be back very soon.
At Purolator, we understand the importance of every delivery, whether it's a document, a special gift, a critical healthcare shipment, or an entire warehouse worth of inventory. Throughout our more than 60-year history, we've honed our expertise to build out a powerful portfolio of logistics services that enable us to deliver on every promise. Whether shipping across town or around the globe, from small and medium-sized businesses to industrial, technology, retail, and healthcare sectors, Purolator serves a diverse array of customers. So no matter what, where, or when you're shipping, Purolator's expertise, experience, and innovative solutions enable us to deliver on your promises.
Welcome back to the She and Success podcast. Let's continue our conversation with Golden. Let's now look at how adopting a legacy mindset and brand transformation helps improve your long-term strategy and impact. So how exactly can a brand stay relevant even as technology changes, algorithm changes? How do they be consistent throughout?
Yeah, so my background, when I used to work in the design world and the fashion world, We actually plan 20 to 50 to 100 years ahead.
Wow. 100 years ahead.
Yes.
Okay.
The buildings that are created in the city
Wow.
today, we have to plan for that, right? You don't just build a house and it's just for that first 5 years. You
Right.
build it for longevity. So with that attribute, I took that with every room I walked into. Structure is very important. Structure is a legacy. You don't want to follow trends and build your brand off of a trend. You first want to build the structure first of it, understanding the nuance, the phases that you might go through, understanding the risk and trends that might pop up ahead. That's really going to guide your decisions on a day-to-day basis if you should even partake in that trend or not, right? And I like to talk about legacy brands like, Louis Vuitton, like
Yeah.
Hermes, like that's my world. So they don't actually follow trends. They see them and they trickle a little bit in their brand.
They build their own narrative around them.
Exactly. They don't just completely change their brand and then that's who they are. And they don't take on attributes of a trend that doesn't align with their values and their long-term vision.
Wow. Designing for legacy forces you to prioritize long-term brand equity over, short-term viral speaks that, one might get through Instagram trends or, Facebook trends. But on that note, majority of our listeners, Golden, are also SMB owners, right? So from that perspective, I'd love for you to share how exactly can the small business owners, specifically women, know which trends to follow and which not to. So how exactly do they draw that line?
Right. I go back to the 3 V's: voice, value, and vision. So if it doesn't align with your voice, don't talk about it. If you don't celebrate that thing, don't celebrate it. If it doesn't align with your vision, don't participate.
Love it.
It's okay, right? And then voice, values, and vision. If it doesn't align with your values, absolutely don't partake. Like, you are not obligated to partake in things. I always tell people, my clients, is everything here exists for everyone. So not everything is for you. It's for the other people that are there, right? So passing on those trends is A-okay and actually develops your legacy brand long term and strengthens the memory of who you are. So if someone does want to be a part of your brand in the future, they're like, hey, know someone. They're not confused about all the trends that you've done before, right?
Wow, that is pretty helpful. I'm loving this conversation, Golden, and definitely I'd love for you to be back. Maybe the next episode we do is something that goes much deeper into the, barriers that women face in the Canadian ecosystem. But for now, before we let you go, if there's one final success mantra that you'd want to share with our women in the network, what is that? I'm sure everyone has those days when they don't want to get out of bed, right? When they feel that pull back. So what is that one thing that keeps you going ahead no matter what?
Honestly, I've been telling myself this out of the darkest holes I've been in my life, the darkest situations, is be stronger than your strongest excuse. Like, literally, be stronger than your strongest excuse. Fight for your dreams. Don't fight for your excuses.
That's very motivational, but also very actionable. Love that advice, Golden. It was such a pleasure having you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right, that was Golden Jade Johnson from House of Gold. A masterclass in why refining your mindset and your brand strategy is the only way to build a legacy in an AI-first economy. To all the listeners, thank you so much for tuning in to the She and Success podcast, powered by She and Success Business Magazine. Be sure to subscribe for more expert insights and visit sheandsuccess.ca for more resources. And lastly, a very special thank you to our exclusive shipping partner, Purolator, for their ongoing commitment to supporting women entrepreneurs and helping them build, grow, and lead successful businesses across Canada. I'll see you all in the next episode. Kripa Anand signing off.